Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today, wherever you are in this great world. We're going to talk about XRP. And I got to start with this from Mr. Man. Confirmation of the wealth transfer at a conference in Singapore pertaining to Project Guardian. The speakers are JP Morgan, Provenance, and Oasis Pro. Now, when it comes to the great wealth transfer, it's happening already. But I think a lot of people over-exaggerate how much of that money is going to end up in the crypto space. Take a listen to this.
So, you can get, it's fantastic. And by the way, there is a large, transfer wealth happening right now. So the new people that are receiving some cash, they have different, risk appetites, different wants into what they want to invest into. And I'm sure their financial advisors are, scrambling to figure out how do we make this happen and keep our client happy. So I think you guys are, making this possible. But to that end, how will strategies change for evaluating and selecting alternative assets? Now that you would say that now that they're tokenized, they might trade a little bit more like a stock at least. So are there certain things that, previously weren't really accounted for that now are? For example, analyst reports, earnings calls, or whatever. How do you guys see that changing?
I think tokenized assets will be a great place for people to park some of their money, especially if they want to get into real estate without buying an entire house. But take notice, he said, when they're talking to their financial advisor. Now, most financial advisors are still not talking about crypto. So as this transfer of wealth is happening, a lot of these financial advisors are steering people towards the stock market instead of toward crypto. And then there's a lot of people that are just never going to invest any of this money. They're just going to go out and spend it on whatever they want. A lot of people are also in debt right now as well. You have a better chance of this money coming back into crypto. Big breaking. FTX will refund $16 billion in cash to their customers in the next 2 weeks. Bullish. Now, out of that $16 billion, maybe 12 of it ends up back in crypto. I'm sure a lot of these people were investing in crypto because FTX had a great marketing strategy. They used celebrities to sell their service. And I think a lot of people that ended up losing their money, they're most likely never coming back to crypto. But a lot will. And I think there was a lot of long-term investors there as well. Breaking, FOMC, the Fed has announced no rate cuts, rates unchanged. Market was expecting this. Even Trump said he urged Powell to lower the rates, but instead they just kept the rates the same. Central banks have turned otherwise normal people into desperate gamblers, trying to keep up with the cost of everything. Americans spent over $113 billion on lottery tickets last year, which is more than they spent on movies, books, concerts, and sports tickets combined. Think about that. That's where a lot of that great wealth transfer is going to end up. People paying off debt, fighting inflation still. And if you want to talk about lottery tickets, you already bought your lottery ticket the day that you bought your XRP, because you already won the lottery when you hold XRP. It's just happening in slow motion. We are all already rich. We're just waiting for that flip of the switch to take place. Wait to withdraw bullion from Bank of England rises sharply as fears of Trump tariffs drive shipments to the U.S. Rush to stockpile gold in New York leads to London's shortage. Like I said all along, we are going to a gold-backed digital dollar. That's where I see this going. And we are going to have a gold-backed currency in the United States. Gold stockpiling has been happening at the central banks over the last 4, 5, 6 years now. Every single country is going to a gold-backed currency. What do you think is going to move that gold-backed currency? XRP. And it's already positioned. Ripple already put the rails in place for that to happen. Wow, this is huge, turning RLUSD into the first ISO 222 compliant stablecoin. XRP Ledger can become the platform where trillions are tokenized. Crypto Noob shared this with me earlier today. What we'll do next is position RLUSD to also win the TradFi opportunity by turning it into the first ISO 222 compliant stablecoin. Why are we doing this? Ripple is the best positioned company in the world to tokenize the traditional financial system, and that opportunity is worth tens of trillions. Because of this, we are creating deep integrations between Omni and XRP to accelerate their efforts. Like I said, there's going to be so much value in tokenized assets coming to the XRP ledger. And RLUSD becoming ISO compliant, that makes sense because Ripple is already compliant. The XRP ledger is compliant. XRP is compliant. You see where this is going. XRP is going to be moving a gold-backed RLUSD, in my opinion. That's where this is going. Ripple RLUSD stablecoin ad in this morning's The Wall Street Journal. Ripple is gaining a lot of momentum with RLUSD. It's going to continue to gain momentum year over year. And I'm telling you, the value from RLUSD, a lot of that value is going to end up in XRP because XRP is going to be moving it on a daily basis. The 21st century is going to be a series of competing digital networks of value. Sounds like a competitive level playing field where there is no regulatory favorism. This is Chris Giancarlo, former CFTC commissioner. Take a listen to what he says here.
I think the 21st century is going to be very, very, very different. The 21st century is going to be a series of competing digital networks of value. Some of those are going to be decentralized like Bitcoin with no central operator, but tens of thousands, if not millions of people operating nodes in the system. Other systems are going to be highly centralized, some of them run by nation states like China with its digital yuan and Europe with its digital euro, and some centralized and run by private sector big tech companies like PayPal or Circle. And others are going to be fractionalized deposits or digitized digital accounts at financial institutions, tokenized deposits. And some are going to be operated by states. I think I heard this morning that Florida is toying with the idea of a digital Florida coin that will be legal tender in Florida. And I don't know whether that passes constitutional muster, but we're going into a very different 21st century world that's not going to be the kind of unified world of the 20th century, unified around the dollar. And we're going to have to ask ourselves some key questions. How do we future-proof the dollar for this world? How do we preserve its reserve currency status if we can? And most importantly, how do we preserve the values that the dollar has traditionally stood for? The values of free trade, free enterprise, and most importantly, freedom to engage in commerce free of government surveillance and government censorship.
Take notice he was talking about a central bank digital currency there at the end, but he's talking about a future-proof dollar. How do you make it future-proof? You have to make it digital. There's no way around it. Every other country is moving towards digital money. So the US has no choice but to go in that direction. Now, I don't think the US will have a central bank digital currency. I think they're going to outsource it to a private company like Ripple. And RLUSD will be the US digital dollar stablecoin. Ripple already named it Real US Dollar. Think about it. And Ripple meeting with Trump multiple times. Ripple meeting with Trump in the past. They already knew this was going to happen. The fourth industrial revolution has been already set in motion years ago. This isn't just happening now. This was building all throughout the last decade. And here we are now in 2025, and everybody's seeing it come together. But these are the things that the CFTC is looking at behind the scenes. Now take a notice, he's going to talk about a digital commodity stockpile. This is that reserve. Take a listen.
We may once again base our currencies on a commodity, but this time a digital commodity, one that has program scarcity built into it, such as Bitcoin. Oh, it's not such a far-fetched idea because countries like the BRICS nations are already experimenting with that idea, and China's been talking about it with their own digital commodity. So the notion of a stockpile, and I would ask the question, does it need to be limited to Bitcoin? Maybe it might be limited to other digital commodities like Ethereum, like XRP or others, but we can explore that. But I think the notion of a stockpile makes a lot of sense. In fact, nations like the United States, nations like China stockpile commodities all the time. We stockpile petroleum. China stockpiles soybeans. They stockpile rebar. They stockpile copper. So commodities are stockpiled by nations all the time. And we should be, and President Trump is absolutely right to be thinking about a stockpile of digital commodities. And we're absolutely right.
Now, when he was talking about Bitcoin, he quickly shifted towards Ethereum, XRP, and others. And I think the reason he did that is he knows the Bitcoin stockpile makes 0 sense. Bitcoin is a meme coin. In fact, there's too many problems with Bitcoin already. One, the biggest problem is Tether. I'm going to do a different video around that for later today. But a lot of the value in Bitcoin is not even real value. A lot of it is manipulated value as well. So when they're talking about this stockpile, you also cannot sit back and wait 20 years to pay off the US debt. We need to get ahead of the debt now. We need to solve the debt problem now. Because if you want to carry it 20 years, we're going to be adding to that debt year over year still. So by the time we get to 20 years in the future, the debt is already going to be way higher than Bitcoin can solve. It's not going to solve the debt problem, in my opinion. And China and the rest of these other countries, they're going to a gold-backed system as well. What he should have just said there is, we're more likely to have a gold-backed currency and utilize a stockpile of, or a liquidity pool of XRP to move it around the world. Department of Homeland Security, it is more likely that in the near future, a mechanism like Ripple will be used to access US dollars instead of Bitcoin. This is why Bitcoin maxis fear the potential of XRP. This comes from smoke. You know, the Bitcoin maxis for years, they were always anti-bank, anti-government, anti-US dollar. And now all of a sudden, they want the banks to jump on board with Bitcoin. They want the government to jump on board with Bitcoin. It makes no sense because Ripple already positioned XRP over the last decade to be utilized by the banks, by the government, by the BIS, the IMF, and so on. But they're never going to utilize Bitcoin inside of the banking system. It makes no sense. It doesn't solve any problems at the bank. XRP solves the bank's incoming liquidity crisis. It can fix the current fiat system. I stress that because now you have these Bitcoin maxis saying, without CBDC, XRP is dead in the water. No, it's not. It can work with fiat. It can work with tokenized real world assets, it moves anything of value around the world in a matter of seconds for practically free. But Bitcoin, like I said, has other issues. Plus, its ties to China are always going to be a problem for President Trump. You remember how he talked about China multiple times, even still right now, this whole AI war that's going on, that also involves China. We're not going to stockpile something that China controls 51% of, over 51% of. It does not make sense. I think we will, however, see a gold-backed currency in the short term. And it is going to make us, as XRP holders, very wealthy. But until it all happens, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.